Being top of mind, in other words, marketing to your potential prospects, is the number one way to increase your bottom line. We talk about that next on the Two Business Guys Mastermind. Enjoy. This business podcast, the Two Business Guys Mastermind, uncovers for you secrets and share tips and tricks to entrepreneurship as they mastermind on how to have startup, operational, and overall business success so that you can go on to get better results. Enjoy. So here's the big question, Rob. If you're not top of mind, if you're not in people's mind, your business may be out of their mind. They may not even see you. So how can we talk to folks today about being and staying top of mind so they can increase their bottom line? But then at the same time, straddle the fence of how much is too much. Now, this is a talk about marketing, everybody. We're going to get into it right now.
Awesome, brother. And I love the fact that, right, we're exploring this from the multiple angles, because I know that as entrepreneurs, I know for me, one of the things that I struggled with all the time was what's too much? How many emails is too much? How many Facebook posts is too much? What's too much and what's too little, right? Because one of the reasons that I struggled with being too little, I was one of those people that I didn't follow up. I didn't go back in because I was always worried about being that overbearing, salesy, disregarded person. And I think that that's a struggle that a lot of entrepreneurs go through in that space. And, you know, and the entrepreneurs that we coach, that's one of the things that they're always asking, like, how do I know when enough is enough? How do I know what's too much? How do I know what's good? And one of our fellow colleagues, this is a shout out to Shamil. She said something that I thought was just amazing in simplifying this concept. And what she said is, marketing is just a fancy word for building relationships.
Right.
And I think that I want to kind of just let that sit in there. Think about everything you know about building relationships and building stronger relationships. And when you're thinking about your marketing, that's one of the frames that I think will help in having this discussion of what's too much, what's not enough, and whether or not you're knowing how to know when you're top of mind or not.
That's good stuff, man. And I remember, you know, Chris Mathis and I, we do a dual marketing class, right? And he's talking about marketing from a social media standpoint. And I come in and I say, now I'm going to show you how to market to make money. Right. And my talk then speaks to, all right, now we need to make sure that we are pointing the relationship building in a way that we just don't walk away feeling good about things. We walk away with the bag, right?
Yeah.
We walk away with an opportunity to have solved a problem. We walk away as a result of solving more and multiple problems and continually solving problems, that we walk away with the opportunity to have continual cash flow.
Yes.
Right. So when we're doing it in a dual fashion, you know, and Chris is telling them, hey, you got to tell stories, you got to do this. That is the relationship building. That is the making them feel good. That is the bringing them in. And then I go and says, okay, because when we ask for the cash, we want them to go, absolutely. I know you, I like you, and I trust you. Now, when we have seen, we've been on the other end of too much, right? When we see the cheesy salesperson on and they're selling a car and they're maybe, you know, riding a goat or something, you know, I don't know. That may be a little bit too far. You know, maybe they've decided that, you know what, you know, I'm going to say this, I'm going to do this in such a weird way. It's going to be novel, and the mind is going to see there's somebody ride a goat and I'm going to buy that mattress or something, or buy that car. I don't think that works. So in your businesses, everyone, think about this now. How do we stay top of mind? How do we do that? I think there is a opportunity, because you're going to be able to use tools to send out messages in an automated fashion.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. People worry about this, don't they? Have you found this?
Yeah, definitely. Like, how do you do it? And why do you do it? And I think the other thing, like kind of a foundational point to even staying top of mind, is why do you want to be top of mind? Right. And I think oftentimes we have this fear that we're going to be overbearing. We're going to be bothering people. Because I know all of us have had those people that just always ask, hey, can you help me? Hey, can you help me? Hey, can you help me? Hey, can you give me money? Hey, can you, right? Like, we've had those experiences where people ask us too much, where they become annoying. Mm-hmm. So I want you to realize that real trauma that you've endured, right? And it might have a thing in the back of your head, or some of us have even with our parents asked too many times and then got in trouble for asking too many times, right? There's a lot of different experiences that we've had in our lives that create this idea that if I ask too many times, I'm going to sour the relationship. And that is true. But to get to that level, the number is so high. And the reason why the number is so high often is because here's the reality of how people exist. Right. And any of you all that are parents, you understand this. There are times when you're not doing something because you can't do it or you don't want to do it. But there's a whole bunch of other times when you're not doing something because you forgot. Mm. Now, think about, have you ever had a chance where you saw an advertisement and you were like, yes, when I get home, I'm going to go buy that thing. Or, right, I'm in a meeting, I'm checking my phone on the bus, I'm wherever I am, I can't do it now, but when I get to the house, I'm going to take care of that. And then you get to the house and you forget. And then you get an email the next day that says, hey, you were looking at this and you didn't buy it. And you're like, oh my God, yeah, I'm so glad they sent that email. I want you to think of how many times you've had that experience. And then I want you to compare that to how many times you've had the experience where somebody just bugged you so much that you was like, I can't stand them. Right. Most of the time, the people, when I do this with entrepreneurs, most people's experiences, they have much more of the former, of the forgetting and being happy to be reminded, and a lot fewer of the overbearing, ask me too many times experiences. And when you're an entrepreneur, you have to realize that that's the general reality. Most people ask too few times, not too much. That's it. Now, they make movies about the guys that ask too much. They make commercials and right there. It's funny about the people that ask too much, but most people, I remember there's a marketer, Billy Jean was talking about this. And one of the things that he said is most businesses that he helps ask people to buy too few times, not too many. Because the only way that you can make money is when you're asking people to buy. If you want to make 10 sales a day, you have to at least ask 10 people to buy a day. And most people are trying to make 10 sales a day and asking one person to buy a day.
That's it, man. I tell you, one of the things we had a question, we were sitting in a workshop together, and one of the questions that was asked, no, I think you had already left. And one of the questions that was asked was, why do businesses fail? Right. And there was a whole bunch of, all these different things. And I says, because they won't sell. So if asking is the same as selling, you're asking one person when you needed to ask 10. Is your business going to survive or is it going to fail? That becomes a big question, everybody. And why we wanted to, circle back to this. So now we've talked a little bit about this before, but we wanted to circle back to this because we're finding that when I talk to an entrepreneur, and Rob talks to an entrepreneur, you go, well, what's the problem? How come you're not already at the level you say you want to be at? Right? You've convinced yourself that you want to be at a certain level. Now, we know that some of it's, well, I want to put it in work, or I've got to divide what I do with how I'm living my new life, my wife, my kids, all that. But then if you had the kind of business that needs customers,
which is pretty much every kind of business,
why are you not asking more? Why are you not top of mind?
Right.
Being top of mind, then, everyone, allows you to ask with confidence.
Yeah. Right. No, that's powerful. And I think a lot of the science that goes into it, a lot of people don't realize it. We as human beings need to see something 7, 8, 9, up to 12 times before it becomes comfortable enough for us to contemplate actually engaging in. Now, I know immediately people might think, well, no, I saw this ad one time and then I was good. Yeah, you saw that ad one time, but a lot of that is because the pump has been primed by other marketers saying the same thing that you've seen multiple times. And so then you see this one and you're like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Yeah. But the key is that know, like, and trust factor, that top of mind idea is, in order to even get into their mind, you have to have broken down the wall of being interesting, being relevant, being in some way, shape, or form in alignment with what they want or what they desire. And all of that means that when you're engaging with your target audience, you have to ensure that you're putting your message out there in such a way that it makes them think of you when they think of that topic. So if you have a cleaning company, right? Everybody that is on your target customer list, when they think of getting their house clean, they should think of your business first. But the only way that you can do that is to make sure that you've given them the message enough times. But then that gets into, I mean, at the same time that I'm saying this, I know that it begs the question, well, how much is enough times, Randy? How do I know when I'm crossing over that line? And so I wonder what
I get it all
what
the
answer
time.
do you have to that?
I get it all the time when I'm doing the email marketing class, right? And I'm saying, I told you this was marketing to make money. And we're going to use, in this particular case, the email approach. Well, how many times is too much? And I can never forget when someone says, you send as many times until they buy or they die, right? In other words, they stop working with you because they're no longer there. So you're continually having this conversation. Now, that's not terribly satisfying. That's like cake, right? So they kind of go, dude, how many times? And I says, no less than 3 to 4 times a week. Because think about this. Now you've built a relationship. You're thinking about it, right? They've given you your email. You maybe have traded something in a, lead magnet, something like that, right? You've traded something for them and they says, well, I got this information, or I came into their funnel. I came into their world or some kind of way. So there's something about it that made me give them my email, right? So now your responsibility is to, be of service to them by saying, how can I help?
Yes.
Asking questions like Rod talked about, asking, hey, what's bothering you right now in your business? Those simple questions, right? But again, like you said, if you're not asking, you're not finding out. And exactly. Then you are only a few steps away from either having the product, creating the product yourself, going find the product as an affiliate, going, calling up someone that does a thing and doing a revenue share. You can help solve the problem. But if you're not out there asking, if you're not in their space, if you're not getting out there saying, hey, 4 times a week, let's have a conversation. Yeah. Would we not talk to our family? If we had something that could help somebody, would we not, and it's our family member, let's say, right? We love them. Yep. I think I got something that'll solve your problem.
Yeah.
What are you
now,
going to keep it to yourself because you don't want to over talk to them?
I want to jump in and ask you, though, because I think that there's something that's there that I think that we need to tease out a little bit, because we just said, we were just talking about how you need to be asking to buy. If you want to make money, you got to be asking to buy. You got to be asking to buy. Now, in that same vein, does every interaction that I have with the person that I'm trying to stay top of mind with have to be me asking to buy?
No.
So talk a little bit about what the different ways that we're doing it.
I remember hearing this 80% of your communication. And I remember hearing this with regard to, I think it was Instagram. So let's say now we got the email marketing. That's one lane, right? That's one permission. And then we've got Instagram, we've got, Facebook, we've got TikTok, we've got all these different things, right? 80% of what you're saying should not be asking. It should be telling, talking, mentioning, suggesting, showing, and then ask, right? And now Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this, right? Hey, he used a little more violent kind of a way, left jab, right hook, right? So a jab, 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 punch. And then you got Seth going. Seth says, look, don't try to sell people anything, but give them permission to buy. And if that's not the exact quote, I apologize, Seth. but that becomes a part of it, right? How are you communicating? The emails that I keep, right? And I have emails coming in constantly, as you guys can imagine. I get emails in from marketers because, I'm in that space, right? I get emails from people from people from a variety of things. The ones that I immediately go, get rid of them. They're always trying to sell me. And it's sleazy salesperson stuff, right? Hey, buy this. It's 20. Look, man, give me something that I can hold on to, something that I can use today, something that maybe that I can go make money from tomorrow because I got your email. And now I'm looking at you in a whole nother light. So the ones that I keep are emails that they're always, bringing something that I hadn't thought about, combining something in a way that I'm like, wow, I didn't see this way. Telling me about an old TV show or something, right? And then relating it to the product.
Yes.
Right. I get some stuff from Dean Jackson, and I keep him on my list, man, because I can literally say from things that I've seen just out of his emails, I've been able to go, that's pretty good, Dean. Thank you for that. Right. And he has at the end, hey, I'm having a class. I'm helping you write a book. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Would you be interested? If so, in the description field, put this.
Exactly.
Beautiful stuff, right? And he leaves you the option to jump in. But in the meantime, take this, and his emails
take this value. Long.
Take this value. Does this work for your business?
Yeah. That point that you just made, I think is one of those golden nuggets. Everybody write that down. Because what Randy just talked about was the principle of deposits versus withdrawals. Right? In relationships, remember we talked about this. Marketing is building a relationship. In relationships, if you're a taker and all you do is take, if that's the idea, then people start to repel. People start to get away from you. But if you develop the reputation of a giver, that every time they interact with you, they're getting something. What it has as a result of that is that if you give amazing value away for free, imagine what the value of the stuff you charge for is.
That's it.
In the minds of those that you serve.
If they don't give me all this, what else they got? Right? And I mean, don't get me wrong. Listen, everybody. I hear from other marketers that says, I don't even open my mouth unless I'm putting a $sign behind it. Well, that's fine. Right? And maybe that's a limited way of thinking, and that's your approach. That's fine. But if you're filled with the opportunity to have a conversation and better somebody's life, then you're going to give, right? Rob's a giver. I'm a giver. We give books away. And I want to transition this conversation a little bit to when Rob gave me this book. Right now, of course, maybe you're thinking, well, because you do the show. Well, he could have charged me the $20 that he normally charges everyone else, right? But he gave it to me. Now, this new work is Thriving in Chaos, right? How to manifest greatness and accomplish more by working less. Right now, I want you to, let's just stop there. First of all, we all know we got chaos in our lives, in our businesses, right? And this is one of the series, right? This is volume 1 of the Legacy Leadership series. But here's what's funny. I was able to take this book, go through it. Right now, Rob might be seeing this for the first time, right? But I mark up books, right? I tear them up, man. And because if they're good, you're going to end up with all kinds of value. This is what I'm trying to show you guys. This book, even at, $20, $10, however you want to give it, is valuable if you take the time to go through it and extract that value out, right? And when you have a person that is a giver, and if you decided in your business that, you know what, I'm just going to give and I'm going to see what happens, at least have the mechanism that you can earn from it. Now, for me, when I'm giving stuff away, like if I'm working for the world, I got these Work for the World Wednesdays where I just come on and hit Q&A, give. Q&A with Randy, I call them. But anyway, I just give. But then I'll say, hey, listen, if this was valuable to you, here's a little button. It's a buy button. It says, buy me a coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And the other day, guy bought me 40 coffees, everybody. Right now, several $100s a day is somebody's good day.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just my day to give, but I ended up getting something when I didn't anticipate it, all because having the heart of a giver, right? Sharing. You've got so many things in your life, in your experiences, even sometimes in your pain and your recovery that could be of value to people. What are you doing to create the mechanisms to give? And of course, we've heard this, the law of reciprocity does work. When you give, it comes back multifold. Now, if you create an environment that you can maximize that principle, right? And this is what we're talking about, right? We're saying if you're staying top of mind,
yes,
always giving something, always sharing something, always dropping nuggets, it comes back into your business. Somebody might go, you know what? This business is in my mind. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
You hear somebody that needs that kind of service, that problem solved, and you go call them.
Exactly. And I think something that's really important in this conversation is, I think oftentimes for me, I know when I was a beginning entrepreneur, I used to hear stuff like this and I'm like, but God, I always got to be giving something of, I got to be giving a whole bunch of value. Like, how am I going to do that? And it's kind of like that idea, excuse me, if you give, like, if I equate it to an analogy, if everybody you see, you give them money, yes, they're going to think that you're nice, but you're going to be broke, right? But it's like, if you think about it from the perspective of, if everybody you saw, every time you saw them, you gave them a penny, they would associate you with giving value to them every time you saw them, right? And maybe, let's say, a nickel, right? We can give whatever value it is. The key is, every time you see them, you're giving them something. You could see 100 people in a day and you would have spent $1, right? That's $30 a month, but that's 3,000 givings that you've given away. Right. And the return on investment for that $30 is that every one of those people, if you were to go and ask them for something, even if they said no, they wouldn't be looking at you like, I can't believe you asked me that. Right. Like, there would be a sense of a feeling of they wanted to give to you, even if they weren't able to give to you. And so in the business sense, oftentimes we are thinking about the big picture. We're thinking about that major value thing that we do, our prime value proposition, right? The $100 or the $1,000 or the $10,000 thing that you sell. But I want you to think about all of the little things that go into that, all of the components that go into that, especially for those of you all that are in the thought world. There are lots of just little informational nuggets that you can give. One of the things that we do in my company, we do a Mindset Monday. All it is I'm always reading books. We're curating. We're looking at a lot of the best leadership thinkers in the world. And what we do is we curate that information and we just give a little bit of a nugget, a little bit of an idea that we have distilled from the stuff that we read. Is that an entire workshop? No. Is that an entire leadership series or a seminar? No. Just that little idea. But because we're constantly giving just a little bit, what people begin to expect when they see our stuff is to get a little bit of something, a little bit of a pick-me-up, a little bit of an idea of how their lives can be better, just a little bit. So they begin to equate and they get used to the fact that they feel better when they're in the ecosystem of legacy leadership.
See that? See how that works, y'all? Now transpose that with that person that's always asking, right? Maybe it's an MLMer, I don't know. Right. And they're always asking you, hey, are you going to come in? Are you going to come to this meeting? Are you going to, and you're like, man, you see him and you want to run across the street. Right?
Exactly.
And you don't want to be that person. But if you're always saying, hey, I found something that might help you. Are you interested in listening? Well, okay, I'm going to have this listening at this time, at this time, no cost, blah, blah, blah. Right. Now, in the marketing space, we call that, having a webinar, right? So it becomes, when you come to a webinar, you got that, wow, they're going to be asking me for something. So I'm going to, get the information. And then at the end, when they start doing their ask, but imagine going to a different kind of webinar or workshop that You just are given something. And then you say, go use this information, create some money for yourself, then come back. Right. I was listening to a guy the other day on YouTube, and his big deal was, I have nothing to sell you. Right. Now you're kind of going, wink, wink. You have nothing to sell me. Right now, so far, I've bought this guy's book. I have nothing to sell you. It disarms you.
Right.
If you're coming in with the heart of, I have nothing to sell you, but then he does say, hey, listen, I want to get you to a level so that when you need my help, you can afford it.
There you
go. Now, imagine that. You've got, of course, the takers out there that's going to be like, I'm just going to use information. I'm never going to hire this person. And then you've got the law of reciprocity working again, right? Because guess what? Give. And every time I watch his stuff, it's so good, right? I almost feel guilty. I sometimes want to send this guy a check, right? And I'm sure he'll accept that check. And I follow people like that find the means by which to give, right? Now, I want to transition to another guy that has the ask method, right? Ryan Levesque, he has the ask method. And I remember when I first read his book, and I thought, man, there's no way this is going to work. And it was just his book, right? Talking about this method and, how, you put little things together where you're just asking people what they need, what they want, what's bothering them, blah, 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 blah. And at that particular time, in my immaturity, right? In my entrepreneurial immaturity, I couldn't see the value. This guy created a multi-million-dollar company off of the ask method, helping people find the means by which to ask. So don't tell me it can't happen. Don't tell me you can't be top of mind using some specific mechanisms.
Yeah.
Right. Using buttons, if you will. And I'll leave a link to, if you want to sign up to the buy me a coffee type of thing. Right. And this is so possible in your business. And now, because we have technology, everything, it's gotten easier. Very low cost, right? I think you can do a still free Google form. Now we've been telling you the why it's important. Now I'm going to transition to you two, and how do you do it?
There you go.
Right now we can go super deep, and that's where you call Rob and I in to show us how we do this. Right? Break it out for us. If you want to do that, we're going to give you the opportunity by leaving I'm going to leave the link to us if you want us to break it out for you. But here is what we're talking about. You can go to Google Forms, create a really simple form, and just start asking people, putting it in your groups, putting it in the people that you associate with now, putting it on your friends' page. Hey, friends, what still bothers you about this, that, or the other? Now, I'm going to transition you and take you to how you turn that into cash for yourself. So you get all of these answers back. Not everybody, not your friends, pretty, someone may not want to talk to you. I don't know why, but friendly to me. But anyway, you get responses back. Guess what? Let's say you get 20 responses to a variety of questions. Now you create the question outline, right? Those could be chapters in the book you're going to write. Are you guys tracking me? Are you following where I'm going with it?
Yeah.
Now, we talked about the importance of staying top of mind. We talked about using methods, right? Now, from those methods, just talking about Ryan Levesque here, the ask method, you put a Google form that's free. You put it out there, ask a couple of questions. What's bothering you? Whatever it is you want to talk about, your subject matter or whatever it is. People start answering, and you create a book based on those questions and answers.
Yeah.
Right now, if they're universal enough, you now have a tremendous opportunity to spread that to the world.
Yep.
Create it quick, answer the questions, and
I want and even right. And Randy, you're amazing. You talk about this a lot. You can create the book, but then you can break the book up into individual question answer sessions that are, remember we talked about those pennies?
Yes, sir.
Where you can put out a post, a white paper, a e-book, a e-pamphlet. There's so many different ways to proliferate this content where now you can be giving that stuff away in your email copy, in whatever, and you could even give a snippet of it. Here's the question. Here's the beginning of my answer. If you want to get the rest of the answer, go ahead to this website or whatever the case may be. As you're doing all of that work, you haven't asked them to buy anything.
That's right.
You've asked them to help them get more information for them that's still free. That's still all the rest of that. And then maybe at the end of that, after they've gotten a whole bunch of info, you ask them to buy your book, or you ask them to buy your service, or you give them the opportunity. The whole key is, and I think a lot of times people feel disingenuous with this. I remember when I first started, I felt like it was that thing of, you feel bad that you have an agenda. But I want you all to think back to, dating, whoever you've dated before. The whole idea of dating isn't just, you know what, I want to go and have a nice dinner with somebody and you're a good choice, right? That's not how it works. You do that with your friends. If you just want to go out, if you just want to hang out. But when you're dating someone, when you have somebody that you notice, there's that interest that you're like, I wonder if this can be something. I wonder if this can be more. And so you go and you interact with that person more and more and more and more to try to figure out if this can be more. Right. And then eventually you either figure out, no, it can't be more, or yes, it can. Right. This is that process. You don't know if this person that you're giving value to actually is going to be a good client for you. And they don't know if you actually can solve their problem. That process of you staying top of mind, of you giving value, is designed to do two things. Thing number one is designed to show them that you can solve their problem, that you might be the one for them. But this is where a lot of marketers and a lot of business people drop the ball. That process is also designed to show you whether or not they can be the one for you, whether they are client material, and whether you need to keep pursuing them or not.
Wow.
And if you don't have the feedback mechanism, if you don't have the feedback mechanism for them to say, yes, I'm still the one, then there's a lot of people that you're not able to actually serve the way that your business needs to serve them, because they are convinced that you're the one, but they don't know how to consummate the relationship because you're not asking them to buy.
Rob said something to me quite recently, right? He says, man, how do people work with you? He says, you do a lot of different things. And I got into such give mode that I forgot to have some buy buttons, right? And then I forgot to put buy buttons out there. Hey, here's ways into me, a systematic way into me, and what, I can do more for you. And then I had that validated, with another person asking me, why aren't you doing more Q&A type sessions, right? I need to see more of you. I can imagine this. You've given such good value. And I hadn't done enough of that. So now what I'm doing is providing multiple opportunities. Here's one podcast, right? And I have my own channels and I have a variety of things, but I hadn't, systematized them in a way that's like, okay, here's multiple doors in, and I left off the knob, right? Oh, here's a doorknob. Come on in, let's have a conversation. So then people, and now think about that for your business. Are you putting enough ways into you? So there's one thing, top of mind, but then here's how to get more information.
Exactly. And I think that's important to note, because this is the same thing that you and I talked about 2 years ago with my business. And I told you, I was like, I need marketers to, right? I hired people because that's what, for me, marketing, like for all y'all out there, I tell you this all the time. Marketing is not my strong suit. I have people on my team that are amazing at that. But one of the interesting things is, at different levels in your business, the other thing that you learn is that you're top of mind with certain people because of the relationships that you have built already. And that's what most people start their business off of. It's the warm relationships that they already have. And then we struggle to scale because we don't know how to then build new relationships to get to that level, because those relationships that started our business were based off of, years and years of interactions that we've had with people that had nothing to do with our business. And that's okay. Everybody kind of goes through that. And so what I want you all to kind of think about as you're going is there are levels to this and they're scaling, and you don't have to be the expert. It is imperative that you realize what you're good at, you realize what you're not good at, and you bring people in to help you with the things you're not good at. That's why I have friends in my life like Randy. That's why I have people on my team that do my marketing. That's why I do those things. That's not my strong suit, but we have a team now that is amazing at marketing, and they get our stuff. I get comments on posts and stuff that I didn't write, that it just pulled from my things, and we're able to give even more value because they're able to take my voice and put it into a way that is in line with our vision and make it happen. So to Randy's point, we can automate, we can delegate, we can figure out how you can do this stuff and expand your offerings, even if you're not tremendously gifted at this. So don't feel like you got to be an amazing marketer to do that.
You
right?
don't have to be the person that does the work. Trust.
Exactly.
Right. Your book could be the thing that does the work. Now, the book, right? And I just happened to hold up Rob's book. The book, your book, my new one. Where's my new one at? My new one that's coming is, and I've just, what I do is I create, and this is just the printout of it, right? So here's my new one. I love these colors. And
nice.
I'm not copying Rob at all, but it's but it's really talking about that. This one's Reluctant Entrepreneur No More. This is an iteration of a book and some material that I had created already, right? That was called Reluctant Entrepreneur, right? How do you go from fear to your first steps, right? Now, this one is basically saying, no longer am I going to be reluctant, right? I'm going to get out there and I'm going to fight all the things that are presented, self-doubt, excuses, fear, procrastination, because guess what? Reluctance is it comes with all of its friends. So now my point is, in showing you this stuff, is to say that you can create mechanisms by which to stay top of mind. Now Rob and I, we show you this stuff all day, right? We show you this stuff collectively and individually in our different businesses. How to do this stuff, how to break these things out. Right? How to go out there and have the impact that you want so that you can have the life that you want, make the money that you want, be the person, husband, wife, boyfriend, whatever it is. How can you create those things that make people go, I know that person. I don't know where. I see them everywhere. I see them everywhere. When someone says, I see you everywhere, and now you come to ask for something, they go, you're not unfamiliar to me.
Yes.
You have already helped me with a variety of things that you've done. Heck yes, I'll buy your product.
Yes.
What else you got?
Yes.
And that's how you do it, everybody. We're going to close with that. That's, I think, enough heat.
That's awesome. Now we can, that's a great
you guys
place to
can
stop
take
right
that
there.
And go out there and stake your claim. Right. And Rob, I've been really, rallying why I repurposed the book, why I'm doing these other things. I'm creating extra buy buttons is because, we can suggest to you, you can go out there and stake your claim.
Yes.
And have the life that you never thought you could have. And it can happen quickly.
Yes.
Why? Because we got all the technology to get it distributed out there, to keep you right here, right? Several, ads later, and now everybody's talking about you, right? Targeted within your community. Now everybody knows you, right? Think about that for a minute. You can move to a whole nother area and just run ads to the area and go, I know this. Where'd this person parachute in from? And now they're part of my community. And then they see you and they go, I know you. I've seen your stuff somewhere, blah, blah, blah. Right?
Exactly.
I'm on some billboards. And people says, dude, I'm seeing you on billboards. They go to the bank. I'm seeing you at my credit union. I'm seeing you at...
Yep.
Here I am. That's what you can do by staying top of mind. So then when you ask, it's not a stranger asking, it's a friend. Go out there and stake your claim, everybody.
Stake
we'll
your
talk to you
claim,
next
build
time.
those relationships. See you next time, everybody.
See you next week, everybody. We're going to have some more fun and look forward to it.